Hello again. Right, this is question 4. We're going to look at the Hardwick Hall question. It's Hardwick Hall this year, but it can be any historical site. This is the big question. It's 16 marks, all right? This is where you're going to get most of your marks. So that means 20 minutes, and 4 paragraphs. Possibly more, depending on how you write. Okay, so let's have a look at this question. It's all about the historical site that we've studied. So in this instance, it's about Hardwick Hall, okay, in Derbyshire. Now, it's a good idea, as it says here, to make a plan. Okay, sketch a quick plan. Think about what you are going to be writing about. Think about, you're going to have to write about Hardwick Hall. You're going to have to write about Elizabethan manor houses in general, and it has to relate to the focus of this particular question, which is the greater prosperity of the owners. All right. The question says, how far does a study of Hardwick Hall support this statement? Explain your answer. You should refer to Hardwick Hall and your contextual knowledge. Remember, that is your own knowledge. Key dates, key terms, key people, key events, key features of the site. That's what you want to include. Okay, so let's have a look at this. It says, take time to sketch a quick plan with arguments to support and challenge the statement. Add key details from the site and your own knowledge that you will include. Okay, let's think about this. What are we going to do? Because of this question, because it says how far does it support this statement, you're thinking, well, there needs to be arguments to suggest that the main change of Elizabethan manor houses was a demonstration of prosperity. So we might draw a little table here.
This is just for planning
purposes.
This is
just for planning purposes. Okay. If in an exam you could note around there or ask for an extra piece of paper, it's possible to have extra paper. Now, on the other side, we have to think about maybe other changes. So we might put other changes over here. Right, okay. So we're thinking about what do we know about Hardwick Hall that suggests that it shows great prosperity to the owners? All right, and what do we know about Hardwick Hall that suggests that actually it was other changes such as political change or social change or architectural change that was the main driver for Elizabethan manor houses? Okay, so let's think about this. What do we know about Hardwick Hall? Well, we know some key information. We know that it was built by Elizabeth, Countess of Shrewsbury in 1590 to 97. Took 7 years to build. We know that she was the richest woman in England after Elizabeth. Okay, so she's an important person. And we also know that this is contextual, wider contextual information. We also know that Bess, as she was known, married 4 times. She accumulated her wealth through 4 marriages.
She bump off the husband.
Well, we wouldn't like to say 4 marriages. Okay, so how are we going to relate that to prosperity? Well, this is the background information. Let's think, what can we use here? Let's think, what can we write about? Just bear with me 1 minute. Right, okay, so Elizabethan manor houses demonstrated the greater prosperity of the owners. Well, they did this because they were grand, opulent,
Prestigious,
brilliant, fantastic buildings. Okay. They incorporating expensive design features. Glass, which is very expensive at the time. Lots of chimneys. You might say, well, why? Well, lots of chimneys. Well, it meant that they would heat and show. You know, they could heat their properties. They could glaze their properties. They could show off their kind of their great wealth and prosperity. Now, in fact, tied to that, Hardwick Hall was Hardwick Hall, more glass than wall, is what they used to say about it. Evidence that it was a very opulent and finely decorated, laid out property. Okay, showing the prosperity. The very fact that it took 7 years to build. Would also indicate great prosperity of their owners, who takes 7 years to build a house. There we go. The sheer scale and size of the property. The fact that it was, let's see, over 3 floors.
Hardwick Hall.
There we go. We've got 3 floors. We've got ornate rooms. So we might say prosperity would say the features, the oak paneling. The
No
long
expense spared here.
No, the long gallery incorporated with showing off the tapestries. The intricate design and the inclusion of, and you can't quite see it there, but you do know, inclusion of ES and the mullions to show off her position, to flaunt herself in public. Okay, so her initials. Yeah, pretty much like your kind of people who might choose to flaunt their wealth and status today will be looking to show it off. Just think, only way is Essex. All right. Now, on the other side of this, whilst prosperity, we can provide evidence that it did show off great prosperity, and you need to tie it into key features of the site. So the whole idea that it was more glass than wall. We think about the long gallery, okay, the oak paneling that's present, and the presence of the initials. Highlight these because this is your contextual knowledge. You're not just making a general statement about Elizabethan manor houses. You are linking it to Hardwick Hall, which is important. That's on the one side. On the other side, though, it doesn't just demonstrate greater prosperity. Elizabethan manor houses also demonstrate other significant change. So it could well be architectural change. Apologies for the writing. Architectural change. So we've got Renaissance inspired, the design by Robert Smithson. Okay, the incorporation of the design features such as, here we go, stone, symmetrical. Okay, plenty of different features here. Okay, and as an architectural, as a design, a move away from the more defensive design of medieval properties. So it's no longer a castle. It doesn't need a drawbridge. It doesn't need those defensive things. It doesn't need arrow slits. It can actually be about scale, size, large gardens, open facade, open front, accessibility. And that's a key feature. So it could be to show change in architecture, okay, and fashion, okay, architecture, fashion, linked to this. It could well be about the whole idea of, let's see, social change. Social change. Well, how do you evidence that? Well, servants on the ground floor, Bess and the family on the upper floors. This is important because it's showing the distinction between the poor at the bottom in society, and reflected in the house as well, and those of a higher status who were physically higher than them within the property. So social status, social change is actually quite important here. It is a change, shows change, because servants were no longer I suppose, what was it, accommodated in grand halls as they would have been in the previous medieval castles and the like, sleeping in the grand hall. They now had their own space below stairs, if you like. Now, that's important. You could also link to great chain of being, a kind of social hierarchy. And social change, architectural change. And let's throw in another one. Let's say political. What does it show? Okay, the house, like Hardwick Hall, okay, it would be built to show loyalty to Elizabeth. E-shape. Okay, the house would be very often like that, symmetrical, but E-shaped like that. The front's coming out, and you can just about see that there. There you go. That, just if you look down, you would see that would stick out a bit, and that there. And if you look down on it, you would see a shape like that. So that's to show loyalty to Elizabeth. Okay, designed and built to support her progresses, those tours around the country that Elizabeth made during her reign. However, she never stayed there. There. She never stayed at Hardwick Hall. And it could also be evidenced by the presence of royal coat of arms present in the design of the hall. So throughout the hall there are links to Elizabeth, and that would show the political change is about showing allegiance to Elizabeth, showing the importance of a property to link themselves to the Tudor period and to the reigning monarch at the time. And those would be three distinct examples you could use. Now here it says identify two possible links to prosperity. Well, that's fine. And maybe another aspect, another aspect that challenges a statement. It could be you could put two factors here and one here. You can mix and match, but you do need to make an overall judgment about how far the site supports a statement. So in your opinion, was the main change of Elizabethan manor houses, as shown by Hardwick Hall, to show prosperity, or was it to show the changes in architectural design, social change, or even political change? That would be your answer.